or an individual that's either registered or someone who has not legally given consent, would under the third person consent scenario, would that be somebody that has power of attorney for that individual who may be deceased, who didn't either register or hadn't given legal consent? Would someone who would have power of attorney for that individual, would they then be able to have a donation of an organ or tissue donation for that individual given?
Yes, so the question is about third-party consent. And so if you yourself register as an organ donor, that's considered first-person consent, and those wishes are upheld. In the case that you were not a registered organ donor and you passed away, yes, if someone has power of attorney, they're able to make that decision, but also parents, grandparents, siblings. So recently in New York State, there were updates made to the New York Anatomical Gift Act that expanded who can consent on behalf of a loved one for organ donation. There was, initially the legislation included close friends, because as we know in the LGBTQ plus community, sometimes it's not a family member, but it's a close friend who's the person closest to you. Unfortunately, in the version that the governor signed, that was not included. But most family members can consent on behalf of a loved one. So let's say I was in an accident, I passed away, but I wasn't a registered organ donor. My mother can consent on my behalf, my siblings, my grandmother.
Even though you hadn't registered,
even though I hadn't,
they could authorize the donation of an organ or tissue for you having passed away without you having registered or without you having given legal consent for the donation yourself. They could do it on your behalf.
They can do it on your behalf. So unless you tell your family under no, absolutely do not donate my organs, it would be up to your family to respect those wishes. But if you hadn't made your wishes known, a loved one can consent. So that's why it's really important to have conversations about what you want your wishes to be, because yes, your family, your loved ones can consent on your behalf.
Thank you so much. Well, one other quick question for you, as it relates to, because you mentioned as it relates to making living donations, right? If you had a hypertension, this is for any form, if it's mild hypertension, moderate or severe, it doesn't make a difference, but as it relates to living donations, liver, kidneys, that you couldn't, and the reason, do you know what the reason is related to hypertension, why a living donation couldn't be made?
Well, because you would never want a situation where you're a living donor and you gave a kidney or you gave a portion of your liver and then your health deteriorated. So in order to be a living donor, you really need to be in great physical health.
So it's more related to it compromising the individual who would be giving the donation. The person
yes,
who would have
you don't want to jeopardize your health to be able to save someone else's life.
Does UNOS manage both the national list as well as the state registries? You mentioned there was an acronym, UNOS. Do they manage national lists as well as the state registries of individuals that register for donations?
They do, and that's a highly, they're highly, highly regulated. So when I was talking about myths and misconceptions about if you're a celebrity, it doesn't matter, your socioeconomic status doesn't matter, they have a very complex algorithm that I'm not going to pretend that I understand. That is completely colored, that it's only looking at health factors to be able to figure out who's at the top of the list. Yeah. Yes, in the back in the red.
Do you have a and donate their organs and tissue. So do you have a separate registry to show people that do not want to donate?
We do not.
Can we do that?
I wouldn't personally advocate for it. We're in the business of trying to save as many lives as possible through organ donation, and so we're not going to advocate that there be a list for no. In fact, when you register at the DMV, you either check the box that says yes, or you check the box that says skip. So yeah, there is no list that says no. That's something you would need to communicate with your family that you did not want to do.
I think, Mr. Brown, you had a question? No?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ralph?
Thank you, Madam Deputy. So I'm hearing like what John was asking you about third parties and then wishes, right? Like an individual wishes. But can you designate who you want your organs to go to? And can you designate who you don't want it to go to?
No. So yes, you can say who you want your organs to go to. It cannot be based on race and ethnicity, but you can say something like to family, to people in the state of New York. Don't quote me on this. I'm not sure if you can designate by saying like a child or not a child. I'm not sure on that one. But yes, you can make designations. So the issue with that is that it's not always a match, right? So you can say, I want to donate. Okay, let's say, I don't know, you had somebody in your family who was waiting for a kidney transplant. And you said, if something were to happen to me and, I lost my life, I want to be able to donate my kidneys, let's say, to my grandmother. But you weren't a match for your grandmother. There is also a program that other people who've done the similar thing, they say, I want to give to a family member. You can, I don't know how to describe, for lack of a better explanation, it's kind of like a pool. So it's like, I couldn't give to my grandma, and you couldn't give to your grandma, but it turns out I can give to your grandma and you can give to my grandma. So, yeah, so that's also possible.
Do we have any further questions? Yes, so.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank your organization because unfortunately I was in a situation like that where my brother got ill, actually was in an accident, and he was brain dead. So the doctor had contacted us, and he didn't have a connection for donation. So it's a very difficult time because my daughter was graduating. We had to get out of town, and we made a decision that yes, his organs should be donated. And subsequently, after the donation took place, continuing on since he passed, the family that received his donations contacts us every year around the same time. So I tell people, even though you think it may be a little queasy to do things like that, just let your heart and your soul dictate which way you want to go on that. So one, I want to thank your organization. You stay in contact with my family. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. So if you didn't hear, he did have a sibling who passed away that donated, and they were able to donate his organs. And so they actually keep in touch with the people who receive those donations, and it's been a comfort to your family to have that contact. And that's one of the sort of silver linings that can come out of all of this. It's like, yes, your family is faced with tragedy, but knowing that they had an opportunity to literally save someone else's life, sometimes that can be a comfort. The other thing that I lost my train of thought. But thank you so much for sharing that.
Do we
Yeah.
have any further questions? Anyone? I think the complexity of the issue, it speaks to why, social media and even those types of things don't do the topic justice. There's too many questions that need to be answered, too many personal feelings that, so it doesn't lend itself to a tweet, that type of thing. Excuse me. But we want to thank you so much for being with us today. We hope that everyone has learned a little bit about LiveOn New York. Before we leave, can you give us a website that can be visited? Okay, very good.
Yes, so I'm going to make sure that this PowerPoint gets circulated so you have the information. But our website is LiveOnNY.org. My email address, so my name is Safia, it's spelled S-A-F-I-Y-A. And so my email is my first initial S, my last name R-A-H-E-E-M as in Mary, at live, LiveOnNY.org. Esrahim at LiveOnNY.org. So if you would like our organization to make a presentation to your respective networks, your house of worship, your community center, as I mentioned, it's really about us having these conversations. And thank you, Deputy Borough President. You're right. It's hard to capture in a tweet. And so we're trying to get the word out as best we can. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so that was our first and only presentation for today. It was a robust one, so we again are thankful for that. We'll move to the portion of our agenda where we make any topical announcements from the boards. If you have any events, slow down, Brian. Council member's office always has something cooking over there, so let me get it out first. Which is basically if you have something happening in your community board that you'd like to let everyone know about, please share. Also to our audience, if you have information that you'd like to share, please, this is the time to do that. I will take I guess what would be an executive privilege here and start out. It is now 2020, and we know that there's a lot of things happening in 2020. One of the ones that is most important or at the front of my mind is the census. And we want to make sure that as many times as we can, we say census and we encourage everyone to participate. So I'm trying to meet my quota. I haven't met my quota yet. But let's think about that the Borough President's Office is heading a Complete the Count committee, and we'll be having its monthly meeting on the 29th. Any information will be forwarded to you through our Complete the Count Committee email list. And if you have any additional events coming up that you're aware of, please share them with us so that we can share them throughout our network. I would like to remind everyone that we are accepting community board applications, and they are due by February 7th. So we have a couple more weeks. I know that being a part of the community board is a wonderful, wonderful obligation, and it is one that takes a lot of your time, but gives a great reward. So we want to encourage everyone to put in their applications for the community board. And it's also interesting to note that we are always looking for 16 and 17-year-olds who are interested in participating in the process. Speaking of social media, I know everybody that's part of being an activist now, and part of being an activist is being involved in the community. So we hope that we will encourage and inspire 16 and 17-year-olds to join the community board, so they can help us work our technology. And then also, the Department of Finance will be giving sessions for property value, notice of property value sessions, and they have two right here in this building in the Bronx. One on February 4th between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. and one on February 25th, and that's the evening session from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Basically to understand what your property assessments are, and if you have any questions about the market and your assessment, we hope that you will take advantage of that opportunity, again, right here in this building, 851 Grand Concourse. Is it going maybe in the Rotunda, but we'll see. Any announcements from the board, or now you're being shy? Go ahead, Brian.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Melford from Councilmember Andy King's office, and Councilmember will be hosting a town hall in Co-op City on January 29th at 6 p.m. It's specifically in regards to the wind turbine that fell, but he's also going to be fielding other concerns from Co-op City residents and Northeast Bronx residents in particular. So we're hoping that everyone can join us. The address is 2063 Bartow Avenue, or 2063 Bartow Avenue. It's in Bartow Mall, room 31. The flyer is also available digitally if anyone would like it. It's also posted to Facebook if anyone would like to share it. Thank you in advance, and hoping to see everyone there.
Yes.
I just want to announce that Councilman
Just
Jonai.
introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Farah Rubin from Councilman Jonai, and I'm announcing we're hosting a job fair at the Bronx House on January 30th from 5 to 8 p.m. at 990 Pelham Parkway South. You just have to call our office to register to come as a vendor or as a participant. Thank you.
Do you want to give that phone number?
Oh, I'm sorry. The number to our office, to RSVP, is 718-931-1721.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. And to the audience, just take a microphone, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Nicole Jordan, Department of Homeless Services. You all have flyers, but I just want to remind you that Monday is our Hope Count. It's our annual survey of unsheltered New Yorkers on the street, and we are definitely in need of volunteers in the Bronx. So please feel free to volunteer. You can go to nyc.gov/hope. The headquarters in the Bronx will have them spread throughout. There are about 5 of them. Bronx High School of Law and Community, 500 East Fordham. PS 16, the Wakefield School, 4550 Carpenter Avenue. Hostos Community College, 500 Grand Concourse, the Savoy Building. Lehman College, 250 Bedford Park, and PSIS 194, 2365 Waterbury. So if any of those are near you, please feel free to come out. We especially need volunteers at Bronx High School for Law Enforcement, Hostos, Lehman, and IS 194. We're doing pretty good at PS 16 Wakefield. So thank you, Judge.
I will be at one of those locations on Monday. I'm not challenging anyone, but if anyone wants to join me, that's the Bronx way, a little healthy competition. Come on out and join and bring a team. They're not biting. It didn't work. But we know they'll think about it and perhaps there'll be more to join us. Any other announcements? Okay, wonderful. We will now move after a 5-minute break into because I want to give us an opportunity to set up for the hearing. We'll move into the public hearing on the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2021. And let's stick to a really firm 10 minutes. And then I know it grew, see, like that. It went from 5 to 10, but a real 10 minutes, Being respectful of all of our presenters and all of your time, a real 10 minutes. Thank you. 10:57, go.
program called The Great God. I come on every Saturday at 3:30, channel 70 and 36 on Fios. You need to catch me because it's a program to encourage, to lift up, and if you don't know anybody that haven't heard about the program, tell them about it. They'll be encouraged, for God is good. God bless you.
Blunt Squad.